Economic growth works on the principle that we convert natural resources gathered from the earth and turn these resources into goods for sale and consumption in order to grow our financial wealth. The planet also struggles to deal with pollution caused by making all these consumer goods.
In terms of what is predicted for our biosphere, the science which is providing increasing insight into the current state is also enabling us to develop scenarios concerning the future. These are not so much firm predictions as strong indications of various pathways for these ecological systems, and almost uniformly the pathways are, from a human point of view and from the point of view of the ecosystems themselves, if you see them as living entities, it's all very negative. It's all downhill. There is continual degradation, which we could say in many cases is accelerating. So not only is the state of these, or the health of these ecosystems declining, it's declining with increasing speed. And this is because the root causes, various forms of human activity, particularly economic productive activity, but some of the human recreational activity as well, is simply loading up these ecosystems with more and more of the substances which are creating change. You might call them toxins to those ecosystems, but we're creating change at an increasing rate. The upshot of that is that the very ecosystems upon which human beings depend for their way of life at present, the production of food, the absorption of waste, and I'll come back to that point in a moment, in some cases the creation of energy or the generation of energy from natural sources. The capacity of ecosystems, natural ecosystems, to deliver these services to people, to human civilization, is declining. So by damaging them, humans are actually degrading the very systems upon which they depend. I mentioned before that natural ecosystems are one of their services to humankind is to clean up pollution and waste. Now, some of that pollution and waste is nitrogen and phosphorus and carbon dioxide that I mentioned before, but there are many other toxins, heavy metals, other kinds of waste from industrial processes, lead from the use of petrol, various compounds that come out of petrol and diesel, and just a myriad of unpleasant substances that human beings leave behind, either in the water or the atmosphere, or for that matter in landfills and so forth. And there are ecosystems that busily eat away at all of those. They consume a lot of those toxins, and we've seen an example of that with the recent oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, in that at least some of the huge amount of crude oil that was released there has been absorbed by organisms, largely microorganisms. Incidentally, it would seem there's a lot more still there than the press would have us believe. But nevertheless, that sort of thing happens. Now, it's been estimated that those ecosystem services, if you like, those that clean up human contamination and waste, are worth more, in strictly economic terms, more to human beings than the whole of human economic activity. In other words, gross global GDP is slightly smaller than the value of the ecosystem services. So human beings need to understand that, even though these economic measures have all sorts of faults with them, as you'll be hearing from other speakers. Even if we use them for this purpose, we need to get our heads around the idea that these ecological systems are exceedingly valuable to human beings and therefore need to be respected and properly utilised. At the moment they're not being respected, they're being degraded, and human beings are shooting themselves in the foot as a result.
Start the debate and discussion now about economic alternatives. Stop accepting that the way we live now is something we cannot change, because we can.